We finally made it. I know it's been a while since I put out a Trans Am video. I've been busy with the stuff going on with the Camaro, with the stuff with the Tahoe. I have parts everywhere for all these cars. I'm just trying to make a game plan and figure out what I'm doing. But enough of that, let's just jump right into this. Today we are finally working on the Trans Am. I'm getting under here now. We're going to be servicing the transmission. My plan of attack is pretty simple. I'm going to get the jack under here, put a piece of wood under the tail shaft housing, jack the transmission up. That's going to allow me to remove that metal cross member there and gain access to the rear bolts on the transmission pan and allow me to drop the pan down. Once the pan's down, we're going to clean it out, clean the little magnet that's in there that collects any little metal or debris that may accumulate inside the transmission. We're going to change the filter, install a new gasket, put the pan back on, and then I'm going to show you guys how I go and get all of the fluid out of the torque converter and make sure that the transmission has been thoroughly kind of flushed out. So with the way the transmission is supported by the jack, I'm just coming in here and I'm zipping out the rear bolts for the transmission pan. I try to remove the cross member. That's the whole reason why I pulled the jack out, to try to get the weight off the cross member, remove it. But the bolts felt like they were going to snap inside the frame, so I decided just to leave it alone, and I had enough access to get in there with an extension and the electric ratchet and zip them out that way. But with the final bolt being removed, the pan is ready to come down. Now you're probably noticing there isn't really any fluid leaking out. These cars do not have drain plugs, so you can't simply drain the fluid and then remove the pan. The fluid kind of just pours out as you're removing it. As you can see here, there really isn't much coming out, and that's because I already had it drained. Yeah, I should probably show you how I did that. Alright, so up at the front of the car here, I'm going to disconnect one of the transmission cooler lines. Now what this is going to do, it's going to allow me to hook up a rubber hose, start the engine, and that's going to allow the transmission to pump out the fluid that's in the pan and into a bucket. Now there's going to be some people who say this isn't a great way to do this. You could damage the pump in the transmission. You can take away lubrication from inside the transmission by doing this, being it's not returning directly to the pan. Now basically what's happening, the car is going to be at idle. There's going to be no load on it. It's going to be in park or neutral, and it's just idling along. You know, the pump is just going to be pumping the fluid out of the pan. Now you definitely want to keep an eye on it though, because you do not want to run the thing dry and just have it like start spraying air out. Basically, once the fluid starts to slow down, just shut it off, put the line back on, and pretty much that's it. The pan's going to be empty and you'll be ready to drop it down. Now one piece of information you are going to have to know before you do this is the direction in which the fluid is flowing through the cooler lines. Now on these cars, it is flowing out the top of the radiator. It comes in through the bottom of the radiator and it comes out through the top. So as you can see here, I'm putting a little fitting in my rubber hose on the top of the radiator, because as the car is running, the fluid's going to be exiting from up there. Now if you do not know the flow of your transmission, I mean, all cars are going to be different. You're going to have to find that out before you do this, or else you're going to make one hell of a mess. But you can see I just ran that hose into this bucket I have here where I store my used oil. I just kind of zip tied it around to make sure it doesn't come out. Now we're just going to start the car up and watch the fluid flow out. Once the dirty fluid starts to slow down and you see it's not coming out as quick or as much of a volume, you're going to want to shut the car down, disconnect the hose, and make sure you remember to hook the radiator line, the transmission cooler line, back to the radiator, and then that's it. The pan's going to be empty and you could go under there, drop it down, and not have to worry about getting showered with transmission fluid. But now back where we left off, we have the pan off. The filter, just give it a little wiggle and tug down. It should pop right off. And then with that done, we're pretty much ready to pull this pan out, get the gasket surface cleaned off, and kind of clean up all that sludge and just years of leakage that's surrounding the whole outside of the pan. But now the transmission pan surgically removed from the belly of this beast, we are ready to clean this thing up. You can see the gasket is actually coming off relatively easy. I was pleasantly surprised by that. I pretty much just pulled it all off of the pan. Thankfully, there's nothing left on the transmission. If you have some gasket material left on the transmission, you're going to have to go under there and just tediously kind of scrape it off with a razor blade. That can get very annoying very quickly, but lucky for me, the whole gasket came off on the pan. Came off without a problem. I didn't have to scrape the pan down, and now we're ready to just drain the rest of that fluid out and then clean the outside of this thing. Now when it comes to cleaning pans and any kind of car parts, really, I always do this. I kind of make like a makeshift parts washer with a oil drain bin. The bigger bin you could get, the better. Just set the part in there and either use brake cleaner or some kind of degreaser and clean it up. That'll collect all the oily waste. And as for a cleaner, I'm going to be using Super Clean. Special thanks to them once again. They sent me a bunch of stuff after I released my Tahoe cleaning video, just to show their appreciation, being I did use it on the engine bay, and I really do love this stuff. So once they got in contact with me and they wanted to send me stuff, I was thrilled because I actually use this stuff and I like it. As you can see here, I'm not using the most effective method to get the super clean onto the pan, but I just dumped a little on there, let it soak for a bit, kind of let it do its thing, and then I just came in with rags. This is a very, very low budget operation here. I didn't have any like wire brushes or anything really when I was doing this, so all I really had was just pouring the super clean on top and just rubbing the hell out of it with the rag. And it did work for the most part. I just had to do it a few times because that stuff was thick. I mean, the amount of grease and oil on there, it was almost like a coating of tar was covering this pan. Now that the pan's all cleaned up, we are ready to put this gasket on here. Now, a little trick that I do to get this thing to stick is to use just a little bit of spray glue and just kind of spray it on there. I have some leftover spray glue from when I did my headliner in the Camaro, and I'll just put a little bit on in select spots, you know, just very, very lightly, just to get this to stick down, because as you can see, this kind of like felt paperish material gasket, it's very impressionable, so it has like a lot of kind of creases and curves, and it just does not want to sit. Plus, when you're trying to get this thing under the car and get the bolts in and kind of slide it in over that cross member in the back, it is a pain in the ass if that thing's moving around. So as you can see, I'm just coming in with a little bit of spray adhesive, just very lightly in a few spots, and I'm going to let that tack up, and then we're just going to set the gasket on there, and that's going to hold it perfectly in place, aligned with all those bolts, and make installing this thing a breeze. So the pan's all cleaned up, gasket is on and ready to go. Only thing I'm going to do right now is get those pan bolts cleaned up, because a lot of the time you do a job like this and then the bolts are still left over really grimy and like gross. So what I do to clean this, I'm just throwing them in this empty Poland Spring bottle. I'm going to add some super clean and just cap it off, give it a really good shake, get them cleaned up. Then I'm going to dump them into the oil drip pan. We'll just give them a quick rinse and they'll be ready to go back in the car. So back into the car, we're just going to wipe down the mating surface for the gasket on the transmission. Just go around here, get any big drops of transmission fluid off. You can use a little brake cleaner on a rag just to get it nice and clean. Any little pieces of gasket that may have stuck to the transmission that didn't come off on the pan, you're going to have to remove those as well. I usually use just a little razor blade, go in there and you can get it off. Sometimes you can use a gasket scraper. I kind of stay away from gasket scrapers just because they kind of get dull really quick. I like just using a razor blade on a scraper tool, and it gets that gasket off really easily. Next, we're just going to pop the new filter in. Be aware of the little bushing that's inside the transmission. I mentioned this on one of the Tahoe videos because there's a little bushing that sits inside the trans, and usually the new filter comes with it. I just leave them alone and don't even bother pulling it out of the transmission. So if your filter came with an extra bushing and one didn't come off of your filter when you removed it, just leave it alone, pop the new filter in, don't have to worry about it. But now it's finally time to get this pan reinstalled, and just looking at this right now, I kind of wish I kind of knocked those few little dents out on the right there. I didn't really notice it at the time, but when I was putting this on, it was giving me a little difficulty sitting perfectly flat. I think just because of that little dented spot by the filter was pushing against a little bit, but I did get it on. I just put it on here, got a couple of bolts in by hand, then just went around with my little Milwaukee ratchet, zipped everything down, then came in and torqued them. After that, I just filled it up with some cheapy AutoZone transmission fluid. This Castrol was on sale for like $5 off. I filled it up to 4 quarts, made sure the level was okay on the dipstick, and then I just drove it around to mix that fluid up. Oh man, look at that, we are perfect right at the top. But now that we have the fluid and filter changed, the only thing left to do is finish exchanging the rest of the fluid that's in the transmission. We're going to get to that in a bit, but first let's pop in the new oil pressure sender. You guys remember from a previous episode I had the problem where when the car would warm up, the oil pressure gauge would read about 0. So I diagnosed that as being a bad sender because it's a putting mechanical gauge on the engine. It did have good oil pressure, so you can see I got the replacement here. We're going to pop this on and see if the gauge reads correctly now. So you can see after starting this thing up, I have a look of confusion there because the pressure was really high. I wasn't sure if the thing was actually working, but I did remember after putting the mechanical gauge on that the oil pressure at cold start was very high. It was around like 60 to 65, and it dropped down to 30 when it was warmed up. So I later figured out that this was normal. But now we got the oil pressure gauge working again. The transmission fluid has been changed along with the filter and the gasket. Only thing left to do now is get the rest of that fluid out of there. So you can see I'm coming over back to our cooler line. I'm going to remove this again, hook up the fitting, and let the transmission pump some more of that fluid out. Now I picked up about 4 bottles of that Castrol fluid, and I did this process 4 times. So I took the line off, let it pump it out, put the line back on, filled it up with 4 quarts, let it idle a little bit, took the line off again, let it pump it out, and that's going to exchange that fluid out of the transmission. And each time you fill it up, it's going to get a little bit cleaner and a little bit cleaner until you're left with nothing but pretty much all clean fluid. Now, as you guys just saw, we just changed the fluid and the filter in the pan in this thing, and that fluid is still very dirty. So this is where it really depends on how good your exchange is going to come out, because the more times you fill this up and drain it, the cleaner the end result is going to be. Now, even though we dropped the pan and changed the fluid inside of there, we still have the old fluid that's in the torque converter, in the transmission case, in the valve body. So this is where the exchange is going to come in and get the rest of that fluid out. So after doing that about 3 more times, the fluid was looking pretty good, and it was time for the final fill up. This is also where we're going to be pre-mixing the Lucas into the fluid and pouring it into the transmission. Now this part looks familiar to you guys because I did the same thing on the Tahoe. I'm just adding the Lucas in this Poland Spring bottle here with the transmission fluid. This is going to pre-mix it and kind of thin it out, because if you try to add the straight Lucas to a funnel, you're going to be standing there all day. It takes forever to get down the dipstick tube. Now, as for the Lucas additive itself, there's mixed opinions on it. Some people say it's bad for the transmission. Other people say it's great and it fixed their problem. For me, I only use this stuff in my high mileage cars. Anything over 100,000 miles, I put it in there when I change the fluid as a preventative measure. I definitely wouldn't recommend doing this if you just bought a brand new car and you want to put it in there and think, oh, it's gonna make my transmission last twice as long. I think that's a load of crap. The primary purpose of this, at least the way I use it, is you have a car with a lot of miles and the history is unknown, and you want to prevent the transmission from slipping and going out. That is why I use this. I never had a problem with it. I use it in my Subaru, I'm using it in the Tahoe, I've been using it in the Trans Am for about a month now. That's how old this video is, and every single time, never had a problem. I know people who use it. So if you want to pick this stuff up and use it in your car, I'm going to leave an Amazon link in the description. But as you can see, that pours in there so much better than trying to get that straight Lucas in the funnel. And I have 2 quarts of fluid in here along with the Lucas. We're going to have to add 1 more quart on top of this, and that's going to make the 4 that the pan takes. And just like that, we have another episode in the bag. We got the transmission service, new filter, new pan gasket. I got all that fluid exchanged, and it's driving absolutely fine. With the Lucas in there, it actually seemed to fix an issue I was having before, where when it would warm up and at low speeds, you would kind of feel the 1 to 2 shift. It would be a little bit firm, like a bit of a clunk. And after I put the Lucas in there and did the exchange with the fluid, I noticed that problem went away. So aside from that little improvement, there's absolutely no change from the way it was driving before. Getting the fluid exchange, putting the Lucas in, didn't cause any slipping or any damage to the transmission. It is driving great, it's buttery smooth, and I feel like this thing is going to be a really good base for the mods that are going to come. Sure, we're going to have to update it later on. I'm probably going to swap in maybe a TH400. We'll see where we go power-wise, but for now, I think the 700R4 is going to hold on just fine by doing this little preventative maintenance, and we should be good to go. One thing I do want to mention before I close this video out, as far as changing the fluid, I know it's kind of common knowledge where if a car has a lot of miles or if the fluid looks dirty or burnt, don't change it because the transmission's worn out and all that friction material is kind of floating in the fluid, and if you change that out, you're going to cause it to slip. For me, regardless, if I own a car or if I just buy a car and the fluid looks gross, I'm going to change it, because If that transmission does have a problem, I'd rather address it right now than have it hold on for another 6 months and then go out. But with that being said, that is going to do it for Trans Am episode 4. Just to give you guys a quick outline on the episodes to come on this thing, next episode we're going to be tackling those rear brakes. The episode after that, we're going to get that engine bay cleaned up because that is an absolute mess. And then finally, we're going to tackle the T-tops as well as get that interior cleaned up. So once those T-top seals are replaced and no more water's coming into the car, we can finally get around to getting this interior cleaned up because the car just smells so bad inside and it looks as bad as it smells, so I can't wait to address that. But don't worry, now that the weather has finally warmed up, I'm gonna have more Tahoe videos coming out for you guys, as well as the Camaro. The Camaro needs a lot of work, so I'm gonna have an update video on that soon. But for now, that is going to do it for Trans Am episode 4. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I do enjoy making these videos, and there are plenty more to come, so be sure to hit that subscribe button. If you want to go check out the other videos in this series, click the link on the screen. If you want to go support the channel and pick up a hoodie, or more appropriately a t-shirt, being it is getting warmer out, link to that is going to be on there as well. And once again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.